All right, guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about the fall of DEI and some of the liberal backlash that's coming along with that. So since Trump has completely dismantled the DEI programs in the federal government, it seems that the private companies are also slashing their DEI departments and focusing on the main mission of a corporation, which is to make money. Now, it looks like Target is the latest victim, the latest corporation to scrap their DEI program after 3 years of operation. Watch this.
Minneapolis-based Target, the retailer, is ending its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs company-wide. It includes a program focused on carrying more products from Black or minority-owned businesses. This comes the same week that those initiatives were ended at the federal level. So what is driving the big changes? Joe McCoy is here with a closer look. Joe?
Well, Rena, one might infer that this decision by Target is fueled by the new political landscape as it joins the list of major companies ending their DEI programs. But even with this change, employees are still protected by federal and state law against discriminatory practices.
The politics determines the rules of the game.
Earlier this week, President Trump signed an executive order ending diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across federal agencies. This action is causing a ripple effect among big companies, with Target now joining the likes of Walmart and McDonald's, ending its DEI program.
How I interpret these rollbacks is a move by Target to a more traditional and neutral stance.
George John is a University of Minnesota marketing professor. He says he's not surprised to see large companies acting swiftly.
They have to make money, and it's a brutally competitive business. And it's best to keep everybody on your side as much as possible.
There's a lot of ways that executive orders can affect businesses.
In 2023, the federal government committed around $759 billion in contracts with private companies for everything from computers, military equipment, to toilet paper. One of Trump's executive orders now requires businesses contracted by the government to not have programs that include preferences based on characteristics such as gender or race.
What these executive orders are doing is having a trickle-down effect of encouraging businesses to end their aspirational goals that are part of their DEI programs.
Employment lawyer Sean Wanta says discrimination still occurs with DEI programs in place. And even with Target making this move today, employees are protected from discrimination by federal and state law.
All right, so while Target is making Target great again, the liberals are losing their mind, especially the black liberals. So let's tune in to see what the black liberals are going crazy about. Play the clip.
Stand when the partners come down and they get rid of and sign executive orders and they begin to gut civil rights and economic rights. And now you understand when they change the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Now you are about to see with your own eyes every single Generation Alpha, Generation Z, Millennial, Generation X, what it looks like to live close to Jim Crow. No, I know some of y'all are saying, Roland, this ain't Jim Crow because I can go to the club with a white woman. This ain't Jim Crow because I can go out and we can go here and I can use this water fountain. I can use this bathroom and I can go here. But you need to understand, and I'm telling you right now, mark it down. 7:40 p.m. Eastern on January 23rd. A year from now, you are going to see a dramatic drop in the number of contracts that black businesses have gotten from the federal government. You are going to see a year from now a dramatic drop in the contracts that black-owned businesses will receive from corporate America and from state governments and from county governments and city governments and school districts. You are about to see an economic calamity come down in black America because too many of us sat our asses on the couch, chose not to vote because we said, well, if I don't get nothing before I vote, then I'm not going to vote. Now you are witnessing with your very eyes what happens. And then what you have are some of these same people who I saw your tweets. Well, I'm saying that we got to do for self. We got to do for self. Let me explain to you, everybody who keeps talking about doing for self. Please explain to me how you are going to do for self in an industry that requires contracts. Please tell me how you're going to do that. If you do not have black companies that control every aspect of the supply chain, then you cannot do for self. Right now, you have an assault on federal workers because of MAGA. Black people over-index in federal worker jobs. We are a higher percentage of workers in the federal government than we are in the population of the United States. There are more black people who have high five-figure and six-figure jobs in government than we do in corporate America. So when you begin to see those attacks on the federal level, you're then going to begin to see black people not be able to get the jobs in corporate America, which...
Okay, like I said, race hustlers will always keep racism alive because that is where their power is, and that's where their livelihood comes from as far as I'm concerned. But here we have Roland Martin talking about the imminent threat, the threat of Jim Crow. We are about to experience Jim Crow. It's kind of weird because it's kind of like gospel to these guys, how they watch him talk about this. It's kind of weird, but he goes on to talk about how we will see a drop in the amount of contracts offered to black businesses from the federal government, as well as state government, city government, corporate America, county government, basically everybody, because, through the lens of the race hustler, everything is racist. But let's break this down. So we have DEI programs, which you hire based on physical characteristics, age, race, sexuality. Then you have meritocracy, where you hire based on skills, credentials, qualifications, etc. But what he's saying basically is when you adjust from a DEI program and go into a meritocratic hiring system, that will be discriminatory against black people. So hiring based on merit is discriminatory to black people. So you're saying that black businesses have no merit? They have no credentials, qualifications? Are you saying black businesses need handouts to stay afloat? Like, what do you mean? That's basically what he's saying. That's pretty rude, but that shows how he feels about black businesses. He literally thinks that they are not the best to do this kind of work. That's literally what he's saying. Of course, we're talking about a race hustler, so he would say, no, these companies will not be hired because they are black. It always goes there. The white man discriminated against us, so it's okay for us to, go and discriminate against him. But for how long are we going to do this? If DEI led to the best candidates being hired for the business, then these companies wouldn't be getting rid of their DEI programs. If it was actually bringing in profit, bringing in money, if it was actually as magical as it was acclaimed to be in the beginning, corporate America wouldn't be scrapping the whole project. Since it's being ended, it doesn't hurt anybody else. It doesn't affect anybody who has a real job providing a service. So Jamal can still run his route, can still do his deliveries. Jamal can still go to the construction site, build the house. Jamal's good. Jamal doesn't have to worry about nothing. The people who this will actually affect are the people who are in the DEI departments. So if you're a part of a DEI department, you are going to get cut from the team, essentially. The DEI people that they hired for these departments were people who have no skills. They just create nonsense. They just make up BS. They just create division, and it doesn't help anything. It just sucks up money. Like Sarah from The View said, it's a scam. It's basically a scam. And now that the government is being run by, real business people, we're starting to see the optimization, getting rid of DEI programs, possibly getting rid of FEMA, trimming out the fat of the government to make things work more efficiently. As a tax-paying citizen, you should want your tax dollars to be spent in the most efficient way. So we should want to get the most that we can out of every tax dollar that we send to the government. Spending your money more efficiently and not spending it on DEI initiatives. DEI initiatives. It's a waste of money. It's a scam. Now let's watch some more liberals cry. Play the clip.
Department of Justice multiple times during the election cycle because, as you pointed out in your open, this was all written down. So I don't like the shock and awe version of this, because if you had been paying attention, they wrote it down. They told you exactly what they were going to do and exactly how you were going to do it. And a majority of white people voted for this. This is the disgusting version of America that people want. And oh, by the way, eggs are still more expensive. So you didn't even get that. Great job, white folks. In terms of how we cover it as a media or as a media group, right? We have to stop acting like any of these things have any basis in reality, right? Your earlier segment about birthright citizenship is a perfect example of how you should cover it. There is no question about whether or not birthright citizenship is constitutional. It just is, right? There is no question about whether or not the Civil Rights Act should apply. It just does. And every time the media tries to sane wash Trump, whitewash Trump, explain Trump, defend Trump, what they're doing is muddying the waters on these issues that we have already decided, right? And I'm not saying that there's not a place for nuance. I actually wrote in The Nation about how if Trump wants to end DEI programs, that's legal. DEI is a policy. DEI is a policy invented by white folks to try to stop other white folks from being racist. If they want to end the policy, the next media question shouldn't be like, oh my God, you're ending DEI. The next media question should be, okay, so what are you doing to combat racism in employment and hiring? What are you doing to combat sexism in employment and hiring in the federal government, the largest employer in the country? Because if the answer is nothing, well, then that becomes illegal. Well, then that violates the Civil Rights Act. That violates the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, the Equal Protection Clause. So the question has to be, fine, you want to end DEI, what's next, right? It's all like, you're going to repeal it. What are you going to replace it with?
All right, these people are lost. The point of DEI was to combat racial discrimination, and ending DEI meant ending racial discrimination. So what do you want to replace racial discrimination with? More racial discrimination? I mean, we don't need a government to discriminate in order to combat discrimination. I mean, racial discrimination is already illegal. DEI shouldn't have been illegal to begin with. The DEI programs basically gave a small group of people the right to discriminate and do whatever they want. And then to be against their discrimination made you racist. It made you look like you're pro discrimination. It's all BS. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.